In the gang capital of the world in California, most men die based on the fact that a woman had told them to go after someone, maybe because the woman was insulted or perhaps a conflict of some sort. No matter what the reason is, it's a leading cause of death with a lot of men, especially that are within a military-aged demographic of some sort. And in this case, who other than Ian Garry that we're talking about in this particular subject? Because if you didn't know, back in UFC 273, his wife tried to get him to fight Khamzat in an elevator while Khamzat was there with his mother-in-law. Now, why is that significant? You got to understand what type of manager this woman is for Ian Garry. What kind of manager tells you to go after Khamzat? Probably one of the most dangerous men in the world, unarguably. And not only that, probably one of the most best fighters that are probably going to come out of this generation. Nonetheless, it's not a good idea in multiple reasons. It's a street fight with a guy that has that type of prowess and status that I just mentioned. And on top of that, you're breaking a certain moral code that, well, I mean, let's just be honest, right? He's there with his mother-in-law, who, by the way, is a hijabi, right? And you would imagine just how bad that looks in the Islamic way of life, in the Islamic culture, whether that would be in Chechnya or Saudi Arabia or wherever. It's just, it's not proper. Now, again, I gotta tell you, it's quite brilliant, though. Is it moral? That's not the question. What is the question is, what is a manager supposed to do in terms of your fight career? Well, they're supposed to try to get you to notice. Is she doing that? Yes. What are some other things? What are some other things? Maybe you want them to get certain fights that is lucrative to their career and that is also conducive to, let's say, moving them up the rankings. Is she doing that? Well, he's got a Vicente Luque fight, doesn't he? And on top of that, you got a card such as UFC 296 that is literally a card stacked from top to bottom. Okay, you got Randy Brown taking on Muslim Salikov as the prelims. That's how big the card is. And then at the end of it, you have Royval taking on Pantoja, which is a great fight in and of itself. A rematch, yes, but a great redemption story. All of this gets outshadowed. Even with Colby Covington getting Trump to come out and watch him fight, because let's be honest, Trump didn't come out here to watch Leon Edwards, because to be fair, nobody comes out to fight Leon Edwards unless he's the champion. And that's the bottom line. Colby said it, and he's right about that. He would become irrelevant if he lost this belt. Now, if he continues to win, then as hardcores and maybe even as casuals, we'll have no choice but to respect Leon Edwards. But on top of that, his story going into this situation, I mean, it could be the greatest story ever. Look at the way that Leon Edwards had to fight tooth and nail to get a title shot. And now all of a sudden, he's fighting in front of Donald Trump, right? Which is a big time for his career. Big time for his career. But all of that is overshadowed by Ian Garry. And guess what? His manager did a very good job at doing that. Once again, I gotta tell you, this is not about telling you what is moral or what is just or what is correct, because I gotta be honest with you, the type of managerial tactics that Layla Machado is using, I would not use for any fighters that I know or any fighters that I've trained with or any fighters that I would go and manage. It's just no way I would do that for moral and ethical reasons. But you also got to understand, the ones that take the least moral, ethical stances, unfortunately, are the ones that succeed. Think about this. if you're in real estate, it's a big lucrative job. It's a big lucrative situation. And it's a big lucrative opportunity. The problem with that situation is that you are committing riba under the Islamic law in terms of usury, in terms of charging interest. But guess what? Again, it's awful. I don't like it. As a Muslim, obviously, I'm not a big fan of it. But guess what? In the free market, capitalist, non-Muslim world, all those things are lucrative and they do make you successful. But at what cost? Because now that is the question that you got to ask about Ian Garry. He may very well win this fight against Vicente Luque. Does he have the chance to do it? Absolutely. He is a marvelous talent. Okay, he's got great striking. He's got the perfect body for MMA, to be quite honest with you. Long, fast, and very strong, just based on the fact that he can out-wrestle certain people in certain ranking positions. And this is one of the things that I think we're going to see out of Ian Garry from Luque Vicente, is you're going to see some grappling that you may have never seen from Ian Garry before. We've seen his head kicks. In other words, not a kicks and punches type of talk. He's a great talent, and he can be very dangerous for any opponent, especially in the top levels at the 170 division. The question is, you're going to win this fight. I predict that Ian Garry's going to win this fight. I could be wrong. Other people out there are saying that, like, yeah, Vicente Luque may have it. I know MMA Guru said that he thinks that Vicente Luque is going to win if you watch his prediction videos. Why does he believe that he's going to win? Well, maybe there's a little bit of biasness. You obviously know that he's got a little bit of, something against him. And then on top of that, his wife is getting into it with him. Nonetheless, a little bit of biasness there, right? But yes, Ian Garry can win this fight either way, win or lose. Worse if he loses, because guess what? Everybody's just going to give him a hailstorm of absolute dump because of the fact that, well, he went off and turned off his comments. He didn't go out and try to engage people when he was called certain names or this and that. He tried to ignore it. And then on top of that, not only did he try to ignore it, then he went and responded, and now he has to think about it, which, again, is an overload of some sort, right? So you can turn off all the comments, okay, but guess what? You still have to go to restaurants. People still see you. Yes, to be quite honest with you, that's probably the best place for people to try and comment section Ian Garry. Because guess what? In the real world, you run your mouth, you get your mouth popped, and, well, the consequences of assaults and all that he may have to worry about, because that is an ever-present danger for all fighters, as much as fighters are in ever-present danger for the normal civilian population. And make of that as you will, right? But nonetheless, it's still a hassle that he has to deal with. And that is the consequences of you living such a fast life and expecting no turbulence to come with that. You got to think, right? Some of the biggest drug dealers, gangsters in the world, how is it that they were able to obtain such massive amounts of wealth in a short amount of time? Well, guess what? They had to go in a rapid speed and a very erratic and abrasive manner in order for them to get to where they're at. Which means the level of aggression that you put out there is the type of resistance you might potentially get back. And the question is, are you ready for that type of resistance, that type of ridicule, that type of criticism on a daily basis? Are you going to be able to handle that? And right now, unfortunately, it doesn't seem that way. Because you turned off your comment section. And here's the thing, right? if you're a private citizen, let's say you have your own family YouTube, right? You just open up a YouTube account because you want to create videos of your family vacations or something like that. And you're not really trying to be an influencer. You're not really trying to break the top 10 of YouTube or the top content creator of a specific niche. That's not what you're trying to do. You're just trying to create a memory book for your YouTube. Okay. You have the right to turn off your comment section, but if you are Ian Garry and you are a world level MMA fighter in the biggest organization in the world, you have to promote yourself, and turning off the comment section is just going to kill your engagement. So yes, it's protecting your mental health, but it's killing your engagement. So that's the reality that you have to try to understand. But again, that's literally why I'm telling you that there's consequences to everything. And the faster and the more aggressive you go, the more resistance that you get back and the more hassle you get in your life. So live hassle-free, and that's the message of the day. Live hassle-free, or here's the other paradox of that. If you want to live hassle-free, then don't chase greatness, because that's the other side of this coin as well that you have to understand. So that right there is my objective take. And don't forget to take time to like and subscribe. I'll see you soon, inshallah.